When we talk about medical diagnostics, we are heavily conditioned to expect, like, engineering-level precision.
Oh, totally. We really want that visible binary answer.
Right, like you break an arm, the X-ray shows a jagged white line, and
Uh,
boom, there's your problem. The doctor points to it, and you're just done.
yeah, it's satisfying because it's broken or not broken.
Exactly. But then you step into the world of neurodevelopment and trauma,
Yep.
and suddenly that X-ray machine is just utterly useless.
I mean, it is the absolute definition of diagnostic muddy waters.
It really is. You can look at a standard structural MRI of a patient who can, barely function, and the scan looks completely healthy.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. So welcome back to this deep dive for PhD Foundations Academy. For you second-year doctoral students joining us, our mission today is navigating those exact muddy waters.
Yeah, we are connecting systemic brain mechanisms to statistical evidence and clinical reality.
Right, so we're bridging week one's system-level view down to the cellular level.
Oh.
Because a neuron isn't just like a simple copper wire passively conducting a signal.
No, not at all. It's actually a decision point in this vast, highly dynamic voting network.
I love that analogy. Let's unpack that voting network a bit. I mean, you already know the anatomy. Dendrites are receiving the inputs. The soma is integrating them.
Yeah, the dendrites collect the votes, basically.
Exactly. But what's really crucial for our diagnostic models is how the axon hillock calculates that all or none threshold. That action potential is, it either happens or it doesn't.
Right. And then you have myelin insulating the axon for rapid saltatory conduction, while the synapse uses neurotransmitters to essentially alter the next cell's firing probability.
So this feels like a good moment to just pause and predict where our own assumptions might betray us. Because it is incredibly easy to fall into traps here.
Oh, so easy.
Right, like if a stimulus is stronger, we might intuitively predict the action potential gets physically bigger.
Which is false. A stronger stimulus changes the firing frequency, not the amplitude. The action potential itself does not scale.
Okay, what about this one? If we see a slow reaction time, it's almost reflexive to blame myelin damage, right?
Yeah, people do that all the time. But no, slow reaction time is completely nonspecific.
Wow. And we also often talk about inhibitory synapses as if they're detrimental to processing speed.
Oh, that is a massive misconception. Inhibition is not a flaw. It is a feature. Without inhibitory synapses, the brain is just paralyzed by runaway excitation.
That makes so much sense. And as for myelin, well, that is where the measurement trap really springs. Let's do a quick evidence check on that.
Good idea. So it is firmly established that action potentials rely on voltage-gated dynamics and that synapses alter postsynaptic signaling.
Yeah, and it's an emerging field where advanced imaging might eventually, characterize network changes after a mild TBI.
Right, but the literature makes it very clear how uncertain and honestly scientifically dangerous it is to point to a single slowed behavior and declare you found a specific cellular abnormality.
It's a huge leap. Let's step into the researcher's corner for a minute. Say you are running a study and your participant, Jordan, reacts 80 milliseconds slower in a highway driving simulator.
Okay, I see where you're going. The temptation there is to say, well, reaction time is our operational definition of neural efficiency, so Jordan has impaired synaptic transmission.
Exactly. You'd think the numbers are right there on the screen, so it must be demyelination, right?
But wait, what did we actually measure? We literally just measured the time between a pixel changing on a screen and a foot pressing a pedal.
Which is just behavioral reaction time.
Exactly. Think about how we got there. Visual processing, decision-making, motor planning, execution, plus the inherent measurement error of the simulator itself.
So Jordy could be, like, perfectly myelinated, but just suffering from poor sleep or pain distractibility.
Or simply using a compensatory motor strategy to avoid making a mistake.
Which completely shifts our focus when we step into the clinician's corner.
Right.
I mean, we cannot perform remote cellular diagnoses from a behavioral test.
We absolutely cannot. In clinical practice, you can't fall for a seductive, clean neural story when the data doesn't actually support it.
You really have to focus on the lived experience. Ask about Jordan's sleep or chronic pain or even just the timing of their medications.
Because function and safety in their daily life matter significantly more than some unsupported hypothesis about their synapses.
Definitely. So, to all of you listening, as a 1-minute teach-back exercise, I want you to mentally trace a signal from dendritic input all the way to neurotransmitter release.
Yeah, and as you do, articulate to yourself exactly why Jordan's 80-millisecond delay in the simulator is merely an observation and not definitive proof of a cellular mechanism.
That's perfect. So, to synthesize all of this, let's lock in exactly 3 takeaways.
I can do that. 1. Neurons integrate graded influences and communicate with timed action potentials in synaptic signals. 2. Myelin changes conduction efficiency, but behavior alone cannot identify myelin status. And 3. A neural mechanism can guide hypotheses only when measurement and competing explanations stay visible.
Awesome. And here is your Tuesday challenge to really cement this. I want you to draw a neuron from memory, and beside every labeled part, write one measurable signal and one source of measurement error.
That is a phenomenal exercise to actually test your knowledge.
Right. And as a final provocative thought for you to chew on next time you try to diagnose a complex symptom with a single behavioral test, think about that perfectly healthy-looking brain scan we talked about earlier. The real picture is always much deeper and way messier than a single jagged line.
Remember, mastery over memorization.